Hey, welcome to the Backyard Professor Philosophy and Symbolism Studies videos. I just finished uploading a couple of games of chess, and I think it's so remarkable how the grandmasters can make those chess pieces dance. It's artistic the way that they move and combine the different movements and powers and the abilities of the chess pieces in order to checkmate a king or force a resignation or to take a queen off the board, etc. And that got me thinking. And I love art and I love the study of symbolism. I honestly think that's why one of my favorite subjects are the Book of Abraham in the LDS scripture canon, the facsimiles and the papyri, because of course, Egyptian hieroglyphics. The hieroglyphics means sacred writing, according to the ancient Egyptians, right? So I'm sitting there thinking and I'm going, what did I remember Joseph Campbell saying about symbolism, about a symbol? And he expressed in great detail the symbolism on the $1 bill. And I believe that was in his book, The Inner Reaches of Outer Space. And that's a fun topic. If you've never read that or heard that explained, one of these days I'll do a video on it too. But I got looking in this particular text, Joseph Campbell, Myths of Light, the Eastern Metaphors of the Eternal. Now, in The Power of Myth, in fact, I think I've got it up there right there. Joseph Campbell described how we Westerners, we kind of have trouble with the symbolic. We have trouble understanding the nature of what a symbol is. I believe probably because it has been through the scientific revolution and this wonderful desire to get to what's real, man. Let's find out. We like to equate truth and reality with physical because that's the way we are made at our human magnification. Our eyeballs are a certain size. We are, as human beings, we range anywhere from 3 foot tall all the way up to 8 foot, however many inches, 9 foot, one or two of them got, right? From our human size, the way our senses interpret the vibration of the universe is as physical stuff because we can't fine tune enough to do it any better. So we stop at the concreteness of the world. We come to this book and it's solid. My hand can't go through that book. But anybody who just takes elementary physics knows that this book is constantly moving with trillions of atoms jiggling back and forth, our very bodies. You know, I put my hand on my chest. Well, it's not going to go all the way through me out my back because the physical, because of the forces in the atom, stop it from passing through. So our interpretation, our intention without really realizing it is to concretize everything. Now that's okay. That's important and good as far as that goes. That's not a negative. That's simply the way we do it, right? And yet, if we look at all the writings, and none more so than the sacred writings of the world. It doesn't matter east or west. It doesn't matter. And if you take it literal, Now, we in the West, and I mean on the Western part of the world, the Eastern part of the world interprets the past differently than we do. So, I mean, we concretize it, we make it so literal. We want to know what happened back then, and we call that history. And so, and if we don't have some kind of a record, or if we don't have some kind of rock carving evidence, or whatever type of evidence we do have, then we like to interpret it as saying, well, it's not real. It didn't actually happen the way a record says. Maybe we found two or three different records of the same event, and they all have different ways of expressing what happened back then, right? We like to literally historicize materials. We concretize. Now, with symbolism and with metaphor, if you concretize it, it wrecks your ability to understand it. Reading history is one thing, concretizing the literal historical materials in the Judeo-Christian scriptures is one way to read it. Remarkably interesting. The Jews of the Zohar said that the literal historical is the lowest way, the weakest, the worst, the most unenlightening way to actually read the Torah. There's 4 different levels of meaning. The historical. What did Moses do on Tuesday morning at 9:30 in the morning on this certain date in the Jewish calendar? Something like that. That idea to concretize it. With symbol, if you do that, you misunderstand it. And if you're reading something that is entirely intended as a symbol and you try to make it something that actually existed, and so perhaps there's something that just comes across as patently absurd. And there's a lot that does, because the symbolic does not have to correlate with what is physically real out there. And a specific topic I have in mind that I want to just briefly read about, and then I'm done. I just want to share, I just want to spit this out for a few minutes with you to help you see something perhaps on a new angle. I have 2 arms. Now, most every human we know has 2 arms. So if we see a drawing or an artistic rendition of someone who has 4 arms, or even 6 arms, sometimes even 8 arms, well, that's not even real. And that is where we go askew, because the symbol points to a reality, to a truth past the symbol. And when we say, oh, well, people don't actually have 4 arms, so that's fake, it's stupid, and you turn around and walk away, you entirely remain ignorant of the reality that the symbol is trying to point us toward. We stop at the symbol. We don't go beyond it to what it is referring to. They call that the referent. And let me show you this. I have a really cool artistic rendition, but I'll show you this first, and then I'll show you the temple. This particular Indian symbol is absolutely one of their most impressive. It's also one of the most ubiquitous and well-known. It is, of course, Shiva. And Shiva is dancing. Now, she has 4 arms. arms, which is truly ludicrous. It is. It's ridiculous. No one has 4 arms. But she is not attempting to depict a human being. She is attempting to depict a process in the universe that's happening right now. And it's very real. In fact, it's the only reality. So for us to say, wow, those people, they're not nearly as intellectually capable or powerful as we in the West are, because we have our chemistry tubes and beakers, and we have our physics, mathematics, equations, etc. And we've got Newton's laws and Einstein's relativity and Bohr's quantum physics. And so we are so much more intelligent and in tune to what is real than those people who sit on top of mountaintops doing nothing all day, drawing depictions of humans that's entirely phony, because there are not 4-armed humans. We entirely miss the whole point of all of it. One, our own superiority, which is entirely false. The other is the concretization of this amazing symbol. It is depicting in a mode that hopefully we can understand, because we can do this. But imagine that this is the circle of eternity, that flame circle around Shiva. That's why the color red. Even colors can be symbolic. This gives the aura of warmth, hot, heat, actually. Red. Blood also. Color can symbolize more than one thing. The circle is the circle of eternity. There's no beginning and no end to it, right? So this is how they depicted the universe, because no one, not even us with our magnificent space telescopes, can actually see the end of the universe, because it's expanding at the speed of light. And we only get to see to the edge of how far light has expanded right now. But in another million years, this whole universe, in absolutely all directions, is going to be vastly larger than we will ever be able to comprehend. And we don't know what will be in it that far out. So see, we have limitations, right? That's the idea. So the circle is just to indicate non-ending. The universe. And so this little 4-armed creature in this center with the fire, etc., that's ridiculous. No one's 4-armed. You're concretizing it. You're misunderstanding. What this symbol is saying is, as the arms can move, there's energy and movement in the universe, everywhere, throughout eternity. That's called the dance of Shiva. That is what's depicted. No, they don't have E equals MC squared. That would be our Western attempt to understand this most remarkable concept. They artistically depict it. And they don't worry about so much of calculating, of writing down equations or solving physics problems. They dance their life. They dance. This is the dance of Shiva. This is the dance of the universe. It is energetic. It's moving. It's alive. We're the proof. We are the eyes and the ears, the heart and the mind and the sound, the voice of the universe. Every atom in us, absolutely without question, every atom in us was created in the universe. We somehow in the West, we become schizophrenic in a way. Uh, we actually envision ourselves as being separate from Mother Nature. That's just literally impossible. That's so ludicrous. It's dumb on its face because we are nature. Every atom we have came from the stars, from the supernova out of stars hundreds of millions of light years away. Such a great distance, we can't even fathom that. And here we are thinking about it. The atoms that we're using and thinking with, they are part of the same kind of atoms that's all over the universe. It's a dancing universe, and we're it. That's what this symbol is talking about. And then there's the temple. Now, I did an artistic depiction of the temple of Shiva. Now here, Shiva is sitting calm in the temple. And of course, there's the mighty galaxy, the cosmos, the eternal aspects of the light versus the dark, etc. So in Campbell's book, The Myths of Light, the Eastern Metaphors of the Eternal, I want to read just a couple of pages to you while you're enjoying this fantastic piece of artwork. Remember that the word Maya has three powers. The first power is called the obscuring power. Now, don't think literal here, but understand this is the function, this is the reality of our universe. They call it Maya. Maya has three powers. The first is called the obscuring power, which obscures the radiance of the ultimate. The light behind those fantastic galactic clouds you see in this art piece here is obscured, fundamentally so. That's what this is meaning. It obscures the radiance of the ultimate because we know these galactic clouds are not the ultimate. We know this handmade, man-made temple is not the ultimate. We know that the light that comes to us from space and the light that we create here on Earth is exactly the same light, photons. It doesn't matter whether it comes from a match we've made or from the lightning from the sky. It doesn't matter if we rub two sticks together. All light is the same light in the universe. So what happens here is the second power is the projecting power. So this projects the world of broken forms. And again, this temple shows you broken forms, even though in itself it is a complete form. The rocks themselves have been broken and shaped and put together in such a way as to create a stunning, beautiful visual image, but they're made out of broken forms. And so are those galactic clouds. So are each of the individual glowing planets and stars that we see out there in the cosmos when we look up into the sky at night. It's all broken form. The third power of Maya is said to be the revealing power, which is the power rendered in art. When through the forms that we experience right now, every day in life, doesn't matter whether they're natural or man-made, we artificially separate ourselves from nature when we call it, oh, well, that's natural and that's man-made. Well, we're natural. We're just intelligently natural, and we can make stuff that's never been made before. But that's not separate from nature. It's still nature. This is our own schizophrenic disillusion that we've created for ourselves, and we really need to heal ourselves from that delusion that we are separate from it all. No, we are that. The cosmos is us, and we are it. So this revealing power is the power rendered in art when through the forms we experience the radiance. Now, this is what they call the radiance, the reality, the truth. You can perceive exactly the same thing either in their obscuring or in their revealing aspect, depending on how far your levels of perception have arisen. When you're studying things in the spirit of the first three chakras, the obscuring power is working. But when the radiance is experienced in art, the fascination of the art object is that of discovering your own true radiance, which is also one of the many things this fantastic symbol is pointing to. No, this symbol isn't it, but it's pointing to this. For the reason why you discover your own true radiance there, because there's only one radiance, and that is the radiance of full consciousness. Then you have the awakening, so to say, to full realization. So it's in these images. These themes are translated into mythological images, and that is what you're seeing right here, Shiva. This is the mythological image. Now, mythological in this respect does not mean unreal or fake. Oh, no. It's just a depiction of what we know reality is: movement, energy, heat and cold clashing, up and down clashing, square and round clashing, mixing, flowing. This is what we have: the square temple in the round cosmos. All things become one. Now, the image in these images, the upper ultimate light, may be depicted as the Father. And this is where we've really lost the exciting inner truth and reality, because the religion concretizes what the image is a reference of. And so everyone thinks of a sky daddy. God is an old man with a white beard sitting on a throne in heaven. The atheists have done a simply superb job in completely demolishing that tissue of absurdity. But that was never supposed to be concretized. That itself is pointing beyond itself to referring to the full radiance, the upper ultimate light, which is simply depicted as Father. Then along this line, Maya becomes the mother, through whom the energy of the Father becomes incarnate. This is what we see in those dust clouds, in those magnificent stellar and cosmological lights we call the Milky Way in the sky at night. We can call this Mother, because that's what we are born from. And paradoxically, it is precisely what we are in at the same time, and it's what we come out of. We're not apart from it, we are a part of it. And so this imagery, for instance, of God the Father and God the Mother, Mary and God the Son and the Holy Ghost. Now, what this represents is not three actual separate human beings with flesh and bone, or even with spirit in the shape of a human. No, that's to concretize the metaphor. The metaphor represents the actual energy that is being transformed from Father to Son through the Virgin. In other words, this is not static any more than our universe is. Of course not. To think it's just static is utterly to misunderstand the nature of reality. And through the movement, we have a transformation. Very interesting. And if you want proof, look at yourself in the mirror. You're not your 5-year-old self. And yet you are. Now that's a paradox. That's a fascinating thing to contemplate. You've changed so much. You've been transformed through your experiences in life. And yet it is the same you. That's pretty important. That's interesting. There's a kernel of truth here that we're just getting to try to touch a little bit so that we can at least open up our minds and see a wider view. That's the whole theme of this dance of Shiva that the Indians have so wonderfully given to our Western world that we completely ignore like a bunch of nincompoops. The role played by the Indian goddess Kali, which is Shiva, is her role of the projecting power, the one who projects all forms into actual being. She's the energy, but she projects the forms into atoms, molecules, things, chess pieces, computer screens, dust, doorknobs, rubber tires, glass windows, the money we buy food with, the food we eat, stuff like that. She, in her role as the revealing power, is rendered in the form of a horrendous destroyer. So this is interesting because this dance is both a creative act and a completely destroying act all at once. She destroys the self-existence of things and unites them to their source. She is black as night. That's why she is called Kali, the Black One, because she is that mother void out of which all things come and back to which they go. There's an inhalation to our existence and being, and there is an exhalation. But that's not breathing. Breathing is a repeated process that gives life. Very interesting, at least on this earth. So this mystery may also be depicted in the aspect of Shiva, particularly in the dancing form as Nataraja. He's shown in the upper right hand holding a little hourglass-shaped drum. That drum going tick, tick, tick is the veil of time. Eternity has nothing to do with time. Now, this is one of the most important Indian concepts that we can learn. Eternity has absolutely nothing to do with time whatsoever. Eternity is not a long time. Eternity isn't time at all. Time thinking is that which shuts out the eternity dimension. So when you think, well, shall I be alive after death? You are thinking in temporal terms. That is the kind of thinking that belongs to lunar consciousness, what they call lunar consciousness. When you realize, however, that eternity is right here, now, and that it is possible to experience the eternity of your own truth and being here, now, I mean right now while you're watching this video, now. So what that which you are was never born and will never die. This is the theme. This is what the dancing Shiva is pointing to. But we get all hung up on, well, nothing has 6 arms or 4 arms. And so this is all just balderdash. Oh, no, this is deeply profound because of what it's pointing to in the universe that we actually can comprehend once it's told to us with the right words and the right thought. Not the concretizing, but the mythologizing. Because no one out there is going to say, oh, yeah, the entire universe is entirely static. It's just still. No, it's not. Not any more still than Shiva is in this magnificent cosmological dance, you see. So this is fascinating. You're thinking and experiencing in terms of the solar mystery, the solar life, when you recognize the eternity of your own being. So, this little hourglass that Shiva holds shuts us away from eternity by bringing about the creation of the world of times and ourselves within that world of time. And the upper left hand of the god holds a flame, the flame of illumination, the solar flame that burns away the veil of time. On the right, we have the hand of creation. On the left, we have the hand of destruction. One hand brings you into the sphere of illusion, while the other hand opens your consciousness. So the lower right hand is held up in a gesture, or a mudra is what they call it. Don't be afraid. That's what that mudra is saying. Don't be afraid. Meanwhile, the lower left hand is in the mudra that is called the elephant, or the teaching posture. Where the elephant has gone through the jungle, all animals can follow. Where the great teacher has gone, all the disciples can follow. So what does that hand do? It points to the left foot, which is lifted. And that foot means release, whereas the right foot drives down onto the back of a little dwarf whose name is ignorance. The right foot drives us all into this realm of ignorance. The left foot releases. Creation, destruction. Don't be afraid, because though there is incarnation in ignorance, there is release. In the midst of this dance, Shiva's head is perfectly still. This is called the drop, the bindu, the binding point, the seed, that point through which eternity breaks. His right ear has a man's earring, his left a woman's earring. This is the sphere where the pairs of opposites come forth. In the hair, there is a skull, meaning death, and there is a moon, meaning rebirth. And there is a little female form that represents the river Ganges, which carries the grace of the heavenly knowledge and experience into this world of being that we are in. The whole figure is surrounded by the great aureole of flame. This is the dancing God that fills the universe and dances in every atom and in every cell of your body, and you are that Shiva. That is the ultimate statement. Shiva Ham. I am that Shiva. Now that's a very deeply profound philosophy that's worth taking a few minutes to think about. That's why I wanted to share it with you. So that's what I have tonight for philosophy. I'll return with more philosophy videos as I have time, more chess videos as I have time, more videos on Mormonism as I have time, and history and religion and science and the whole bunch, because I love to learn, and I know deep down all of you do too. So I will see you next time on the Backyard Professor videos. Have a great life.